Hi, everybody. Welcome to my fall TBR, which may in fact be my end of the year TBR, depending on how things go. This is a list of books that I'm hoping to at least start before the end of the year. And I may make some changes along the way, but of course, I'll keep you all updated. And yes, I'm filming outside because the weather is really nice right now. But as soon as I got set up, then some neighbors over there started operating some machinery. So I hope that doesn't come out too much in audio. I apologize if it does. The first book to mention is Babel 17 by Samuel Delaney. I've been in the mood for sci fi lately. And Babel 17 is a book about language used as a weapon. I have high hopes for this. It's not terribly long. And again, I've just been in the mood for sci fi, and I'm really curious about the themes that this explores, especially regarding language. The next one on the list is a rather short one. It is Caliban's Hour by Tad Williams. I picked this up in a bookstore earlier this year. It was about $3, and so I couldn't resist. And I have not yet read anything by Tad Williams, but I know that he is highly regarded for his epic fantasy series. This is not epic fantasy. This is a very short standalone novel that's based on Shakespeare's The Tempest, I believe, and it has some illustrations in it. It says here on the back, an eternity of love, an eternity of hate, a single hour to tell the tale. So it's a character telling a tale, a framed narrative, which I tend to love. And I think this would be a really good palate cleanser, perhaps. I'm looking forward to reading some shorter books because I've been reading so much epic fantasy and I love epic fantasy. It's my favorite genre. But every now and then you need something different. So I'm hoping that this will satisfy my need for something different and be a good introduction piece to Tad Williams, even though I know this is probably not his best known work or a favorite among most fans. Now, speaking of epic fantasy, I do have epic fantasy on the list, including The Fugitive Prince by Jenny Wirtz. This is book four in the Wars of Light and Shadow series, and I've been really enjoying my journey with this series so far. Had a wonderful discussion on the third book, Or Host of Vastmark, which is up now on A Critical Dragons channel with A Critical Dragon, AP Canavan, and Philip Chase. And so this particular book, I think I've heard from some fans that the pacing increases quite a bit in this book, that a lot of things escalate. One thing that I really appreciate about this series is that there are so many things that happen in each consecutive book after book one that just reverberate from things that happened in book one. We talked about that in our book three discussion. And it's brilliant the way Jenny Wirtz does that. I've also really enjoyed the setting descriptions in this particular series. I enjoy the exploration on certain themes, especially on how we perceive other people, the judgments we make of others based on context, based on assumptions, based on so many different things happening. Oh, yay, the machinery in the background finally disappeared. So I am excited to get to this. It's hard to talk about it without spoilers. Past book one, since I am reading this as part of a read along, I told Philip to go ahead and let me know whenever he gets to this and that I'll start this around the same time, I'm hoping. Continuing my interest in sci-fi, a book that I'll be getting to actually in November is Lord of Light by Roger Zelazny. This would be my introduction to Roger Zelazny. And this particular book ties in Buddhism, technology, immortality, gods. So I'm very curious about it. It's a standalone, not terribly long, and it was highly recommended to me. Well, it was actually given to me as a gift from my friend Matt from Matt on Books. And Philip, Chase, and I are buddy reading this together. We're both interested in the topic of Buddhism and fantasy, as of course, Philip has tied in a lot of Buddhist elements into his own fantasy series, the Edan trilogy. So I know we'll have a wonderful conversation about this and really curious to see what Zelazny has in store. And I'm hoping to read more Zelazny in the future if I really enjoy this one. A Song for Arban is another one that I'm hoping to get to, and I'm going a little out of order here. I actually think I might pick this up towards the end of October, depending on how things go. But this is a standalone. I loved Guy Gabriel Kay's The Lions of Alrasan, and so I have full confidence I will enjoy this. It incorporates troubadours. It's set in historical France, I believe. And I enjoy the way that Guy Gabriel Kay incorporates history into his fantasy while still making it a secondary world. I think he's very clever at doing that, and I really enjoyed his prose, so many things he did with the Lions of Alrazan. So I have high confidence I will love A Song for Arbun. The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin is another sci-fi standalone I would love to get to before the end of the year. And this particular book is highly regarded among sci-fi fans. Even though it is a standalone, I understand it's possibly interconnected with a couple of other standalones by Ursula K. Le Guin. And although I've never read any of Ursula K. Le Guin's fantasy, I do hope to read Earthsea eventually. But this particular book caught my eye. It's the one that I would like to start with. I have read her essay From Elfland to Poughkeepsie, which I highly recommend on Fantasy Pros. I was supposed to buddy read this with Alan from the Library of Alexandria, but honestly, I don't know if Alan is going to have time. Honestly, I don't know if I'll have time to get to it this year, but it is high on my list of sci-fi books I would love to read. In November, I will be picking up Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. This is book 3 in the Gentleman Bastard series, and I loved The Lies of Locke Lamora and Red Seas Under Red Skies. The interesting thing about the Gentleman Bastard series, at least as far as my experience has been so far, is that I've been able to space out those first two books without any issue at all. So I read The Lies of Locke Lamora, I want to say maybe 2018, 2019. I'll have to double check on that, but I barely read Red Seas Under Red Skies last year, and I didn't feel like I had any trouble picking up where I left off. I feel like each book almost functions as a standalone, so you can space the books out quite a bit. But I do want to go ahead and read that third book that's published, Republic of Thieves, because I really enjoy Lynch's prose, his humor, his settings. I think he's a gifted writer, and also the characterization, the friendship between Locke and Jean. So I'm expecting that to be a lot of fun. I understand it's quite political, and although not a favorite amongst most of the fans of The Gentleman Bastards, I still think I will have a good time. As a palate cleanser in November, I would love to pick up Travis Baldry's Bookshops and Bone Dust. I enjoyed Legends and Lattes last year, Bone Bookshops and Bone Dust, sorry. That book is set in the same world as Legends and Lattes. It looks like it has some of the same characters on the cover, and this was just Legends and Lattes for me was the perfect palate cleanser. It was just the perfect break I needed from very dense and bleak fantasy, the types of books that I normally read. It was just a delight. So I think if I need a little bit of a pick me up, as I might at this time of year, then I might pick up that book, possibly on audio, because I think Travis Baldree is a very gifted audiobook narrator. He has a career as an audiobook narrator even prior to writing Legends and Lattes. So that is one that I think I am going to pick up once it comes out. Next on the list is Return to Eden. And so this is the third and final installment in the Eden trilogy by Philip Chase. It's funny because I had a wonderful discussion here on my channel with Philip Chase, with Murphy Napier, and Jimmy from the Fantasy Network. And I had a prediction of who this was on the cover. And turns out I was so off. And I have another prediction now as to who this is on the cover. And I am most excited to hear that this book features my favorite character in the whole trilogy, the elf, and that it takes a more unconventional route than the previous two installments. And I think that some of the more otherworldly, transcendent passages in the previous two books, those have been my favorite parts of the Edan trilogy so far. So I am curious to see where this goes and happy to complete this trilogy by my very good friend. I don't know that I will even get to start it before the end of the year. I'm hoping to. It is quite chunky though. So I feel like I'm going to need a lot of space because these books, even the books 1 and 2, which were quite a bit shorter, did take me quite a while to get through. They weren't books that I felt like I could just, go through really quickly, even though I don't think Philip Chase's writing style is complex or difficult to read. It still felt like there were a lot of elements of world building to absorb. But I am very happy for Philip Chase and, of course, want to celebrate him and read the final installment to the Edan trilogy. Wow, that's it. So I kept expecting there were more books I had on my list, but I guess I got through all of them. There are some other books I'm still thinking of, but I'm just keeping them quiet for now, possibly inserting a couple more here and there if I have room or I'm in the mood, just giving myself a little bit of flexibility here and there. But these are all books that I definitely will read at some point, if not this year before the end of the year, then maybe early next year. And again, I'll keep you all updated on my progress. But until then, please let me know in the comment section below if you've read any of these books, if you're planning to read any of these books, because I would love to hear from you. And if you enjoy topics such as TBRs or reading and booktube, then you might want to check out the wonderful discussion I'll be having later on this month with my friend Tori from the channel Tori Talks for her Motley Crew chats. We're going to be discussing this topic as she has decided she is done with TBRs and the certain ways that booktube is influencing her reading life. We're going to be talking about those kinds of things on her channel. So I'll keep you all posted about that. But until then, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.